to the environment, we're probably all guilty of seeing the impact others are having before we see our own. It's one of the key messages of a book called It Is Easy Being Green. And while there's lots of information out there for householders keen to do their bit, this book is for small and medium-sized businesses. Author Jean Cannon is an environmental biologist who spent more than 20 years helping businesses implement risk-based environmental management systems. And Jean joins me in the studio. Hello, thank you for coming in.
Hi.
Jean, it can seem pretty daunting, I imagine, for small and medium-sized businesses to implement a strategy, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But in terms of the impact that small businesses are having, I guess, and you find that many don't think it's actually significant, but it is.
Oh, absolutely. And in fact, I was hearing somebody saying, well, we run an office, we don't have any environmental impact. But actually, the figures the Victorian government's brought out show that 15% of the energy used is actually used by the commercial office-based sector. And then they use all their paper and their toner, and they've got a high turnover of electronic equipment, all of which has to be disposed of.
So when you put all that together, it's actually a pretty significant impact that we're talking about.
The small to medium sector is actually the biggest employer group, so they're the biggest user of all the different things, and they have the biggest cumulative environmental impact.
You can understand their reluctance, though, to a certain extent, to do something about it when you consider it's pretty daunting going through this whole process of putting together an environmental management
Absolutely.
system.
Small business really feels under the threat because they haven't got much money, they haven't got much time, they've got their BAS, they've got their OH&S, they've got the EPA, they've got heaven knows who, always wanting to put more things on them, and then somebody comes along and says, well, why don't you do an environmental management system? And they say, well, get real, you know, I've got enough, why the heck would I want to do anything extra? And it's because it actually doesn't have to be difficult. It really can be done in small stages.
And that's the point that your book makes. It may seem like the world's biggest nightmare, but it's not.
It actually makes your business more efficient, it saves you time and it saves you money.
Yeah. What's the best way to go about it then? If you're saying that it can be done in as a simple process, how do you do it?
Well, you start off by working out everything you do in your business, and I mind map. I take the clients through a process where they mind map absolutely every activity, every single activity, whether they think it's relevant or not. Get the whole lot down, and I find if they make lists, they don't remember everything. But if they mind map, they're using both sides of their brain, and they get the whole lot. And when they know what they do, really know what they do, and they've got it on paper, they can go through things one by one. Well, what's the environmental impact of that one? Oh, well, we do use paper there. What's the environmental impact of this one? Oh, well, perhaps we should think about how we're storing those chemicals. Are we putting them together? And so on, and they might come up with some of the health and safety risks at the same time and get that set of regulators off their back all in the same process.
So there are easy processes for doing it. As far as why they should be doing it, one of the other factors that you say in the book is if businesses aren't doing it for whatever reason, many think that it's all too hard, wish it would really just go away, they could actually be leaving themselves open to legal problems.
Absolutely.
They're obliged legally to be doing something about this.
Absolutely. And environmental laws are exactly the same as your traffic laws. If you're driving down the road at 140k with a blood alcohol limit that's double the legal limit, you can't expect the policeman to say, oh, that's all right, you know. Sorry you didn't know that it was illegal. And it's exactly the same thing with environmental law. You cannot say, I'm sorry, officer, I didn't know.
Yeah.
You can go to jail.
So they do have to get onto this. Money, that would obviously be a big factor as far as businesses are concerned. How much is it going to cost me to put into practice these
It doesn't have to cost very much at all. If you go to my website, which is www.enviroaction.com.au, I've actually got a free jumpstart kit that's a free tool people can use to get them started. I've also got home study courses where they can go most of the way through to an ISO 14001 system by using 2 simple home study modules, or they can go the whole way using fully coached courses or get a consultant in. It depends on but if they want to do it in a really cost-effective way, start by trying the Green Jumpstart Kit.
There's another factor which I think is interesting that you point out in the book, other than the money, the financial factor. For businesses to make their organisation more sustainable, there is actually a benefit in terms of longevity, especially if they're a kind of business who wants to hand it over to the next generation or keep it in the family. That's pretty important as well.
It is, and there's quite a lot of the clients I've worked with, particularly in the primary production of farming, seafood, tuna farming, people like that, some of those industries, actually say they want to pass the farm on, they want to pass the fishing business on to their grandchildren. That's part of their own built-in sustainability.
It's really interesting in the book. You've got a whole lot of case studies from businesses who've started at the point of being totally confused by the whole thing and ended up learning so much and even adapting the systems that they've put in place and seeing the benefits and making money. That must be satisfying for you. Is that part of the reason that you wrote the book?
It's hugely satisfying for me to, and I'd like the rest of the world to know just how good some of these people are. Some of them are really impressive, and I've been thrilled to have the honour to work with them. They're just great guys.
So the message is that you do have to do it, but it actually can be of benefit for you, and it's
simple.
not that difficult.
Little step and little step, just lots of small, steady steps, and keep the paperwork to a minimum. You're trying to build a system to help your environment and help your business. You're not trying to build a paper mountain.
Okay. All right, it's called It Is Easy Being Green. Jean Cannon, thank you for joining us.
Thanks.
Well, that's all for this week. Don't forget, if you'd like more information, you can visit our website, skynews.com.au/eco. You can also download an audio feed of the Sky News Eco Report from our podcasting service on our website. I'm Michael Willisey. I hope you will join us next time on Sky News Eco Report.